You're listening to Dr. Heather Williamson, the Leadership Doc, host of Talking Leadership, and we are on ESPN 106.1 FM, and it is an early 5:30 in the morning, so hopefully you are awake, putting on your makeup, if you're a woman, or drinking your cup of coffee, whatever it might be. But I'm really excited because I have I think a really special, amazing woman in the studio today, and her name is Nichole Inkel. She is the owner of Windy Hill Golf Course and Sports Complex, which you took ownership January of 21.
Yes, I did.
And she actually coaches my son in golf, so that's kind of how the connection was made. And obviously, we go by at your golf course in Park all the time, coming down Route 60.
Yeah.
But she is going to share with us her LPGA story and what she has done with her business and how she has overcome those challenges, because you were running during COVID the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it's been a challenge. But anyway, so welcome
Thank
you. ESPN,
Thank you.
the studio.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So tell, for those that are not familiar with Windy Hill, tell what that complex is, what you have, what you offer, and where they can find you.
Okay. Well, we're on Midlothian Turnpike on Route 60. It's just past, it's between Powhatan and Wawa, over at Westchester Commons. It's interesting because a lot of people don't know it's been here forever.
Yeah.
For 34 years, I think so. And I took it over, and like you said, in 2021. We have a 9-hole lighted par 3. We have a 9-hole executive course, which means it's just a regular course as a par 3, a par 4, a par 5. We have 36 holes of putt-putt. We have 64 bays on the driving range, grass and mats. We have 25 go-karts and 9 batting cages. And we are in the process of putting in a very high-tech simulator that's going to be here in the winter. It's a full bar.
And the simulator is going to do what?
So the simulator is where you can come in and, if it's cold, I can teach.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. But it gives you a lot of technology. There's a lot of people that really like that technology. And, you can see your ball flight, your angle of attack, things like that.
Right.
But it's a very good teaching tool, and it's one of the best on the market right now where, if I needed to teach you in the sand trap, uneven lies, it actually elevates yourself to it, and this is the only one that does that. So we're really excited about that.
Exciting. So yeah. I think my son will have a lot of fun with that.
Yes. Well, and it's not only a teaching tool. It's you can do leagues, and this was a virtual one. So if somebody else just say in Arizona has this particular one at their golf course, you can actually have a league against that other golf course. So like I said, it's a great teaching tool, but it's also great for my students and clients that they can come in when it's cold or even hot and hit some balls, and then if they're technical, they can get some more information that way. So looking forward to it. But we have a lot of birthday parties, we have a lot of golf events, so we're just kind of like, I call it like a golf course with a Disney, steroid type thing.
Disney steroids. With lots of fun.
Yes.
You don't only have to just play golf and on the holes, you can actually have lots of other fun with there.
And we do a lot for just everyone, there's... And we'll talk about that in a minute, but we do a lot for just beginner golfers, and and we have a lot of every Sunday we have football there now so the dads are bringing their kids in to play putt-putt, and then they're watching football, or their moms are on the deck having wine now, and we have a patio, and so
really
it's just
really
we have bands.
Bands. My husband never mentioned that. Now I know where I need to go hang out.
He's out there. No, but we have bands on Saturday nights. It's just turned in. I've turned it more of a very, inviting place where it's not
family oriented.
It's very family. So like I said, the groups of parents are bringing their kids there, and then they're on the deck, having a cocktail while their kids, entertain themselves. So it's just been especially good with COVID. It was a good opportunity for families to get out, and it was just a little bit of everything for everyone.
And you're outside too, which is even better.
Yeah.
Fresh air.
Yes,
Fresh air.
Exactly.
So you got into golf just a few years ago.
Yeah, I'd like to say that. Yeah, I was 9 when my father got me into golf, and it was just something that, and interesting, this is why I think I'm doing the things I'm doing for families, because my family was very avid golfers, and it was every Father's Day we played, and every Mother's Day we played, every birthdays we played, and so it was just a time for my family to grow together, and so then when I had kids, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because there were no phones or
Right.
cell phones out there. It's just 4.5 hours of you and your family, and and the competition was there. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't. It's not like my sister and I just got out there and like, oh, let's just play some golf. It was game on.
Yeah.
So, but and when now I can bring that to other families. We just had a big PGA event, junior league event on Sunday where the parents came out with their kids and they dressed up and they just had a great time. And it's just so I'm bringing how I grew up with golf into Windy Hill. So,
and so you actually were teaching and playing golf for a while with the NCAA, and you were head of the women's head golf coach at the University of Illinois Springfield. And so I think it's really cool because you bring all that here locally and allow others to experience your gift.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason we've been successful is because I was an actual competitor. I did play competitively, and then and then I was gonna go. I wanted to go on tour, and then I was in that car accident that kind of put me back. But it put me in a place. Hey, I'm very excited about where I am. But when I coached college, and then I took the sports psychology part of it, and really kind of intertwined that into my coaching. I brought it into teaching, and so when I teach, somebody like your son, it's okay. Now we can I'm not just teaching you, but where do you want to go with it, from here, and I've got the psychology background of it on. Okay, this is, I know you're getting it, but mentally you're not getting it. So let's work this avenue. So that's what I try to do with Windy is especially with obviously the golf part of it, but I can bring all of my experiences, playing competitively. Having the sports psychology background, coaching college and actually coaching high school too. So I coached both of them. How do you prepare your student, your player for the next level? So that's exciting for me that I can actually bring that to my students.
And we will probably very much continue with your one-on-one coaching with my son because he also wants to play for the school in the spring.
Yes.
So, and he's, kind of new to golf. He's done golf camps, but what you teach in that one-on-one is just amazing. And he has progressed exponentially in his skill level.
Well, I love him. So I love students like him because he's a sponge. He's definitely a sponge.
He is a sponge.
Yeah.
He is a sponge.
Yeah.
So share what maybe the challenges that you experienced, starting this in 2021 and how you overcame them as a business owner.
I think that it's because I was in the middle of COVID, the challenges that I had were everything was just, to get balls before then. It was, in a week you'd have, you have golf balls or you have equipment and, even the golf clubs, the shafts, it was just so hard to get. And so just like everything else, everything was so high in demand. And so it was very, very tough to, people would order golf clubs and then 16 weeks later they'd have golf clubs, and that wasn't the norm.
Yeah.
And luckily it wasn't just Windy Hill. It was, everyone, Ping and TaylorMade and Callaway, everyone went through the same thing, and that was the biggest challenges. And then, honestly, in getting people to show up, and, I bought it, and so I was going to totally renovate it. It was getting people to show up to do the job that we hired them to do. It was people to
the
call
contractors.
you back. Yes, it was. It was just unbelievable that what we went through, and we joke about it now because I'm like, maybe I should just change my name because is it me? This is crazy because you're wanting to build this, and then you'd have somebody bid, and then you'd call them, and they just disappeared.
Yeah.
So
that's because you didn't know my husband.
Yes, see, this is why I'm here. But it was just amazing to me that the demand. We couldn't get wood, and we couldn't get tractors, and I wanted to buy a new mower, and that was 25 weeks out. New golf carts were, I think we got them 11 months after we ordered them, and we still don't have the right carts. So it's been two years now, and we still don't have. So it's just, those are the challenges that we really had, and it was tough because as a new business owner you want to improve on the facility. And that's one thing I kept saying, this is going to be better. We're going to have this. And then all of a sudden I couldn't have it because the supply wasn't there.
Right.
Or the mower wasn't there. We're trying to I hired a superintendent to, totally kind of renovate the golf course and to bring it up where, we really wanted it to be. And so
LPGA.
Yeah. Everyone kept telling me, you can't bring Anthem here. I'm like, yes, I can. Anthem, Arizona, I can bring Arizona here. So, but it was frustrating because my superintendent, you couldn't get chemicals or supplies, and so that was the worst. And we're still fighting it. It's not as bad, but we're still fighting that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome this? That challenge?
Well, it's a good question. So I'm very big on communication, very big on, and so, I hired a really good team, and we just made sure that, we told the people that what we want to do. And it wasn't, I'll tell you the biggest reason how I overcame that was before I bought it, I was here for 6 months. I was kind of an undercover boss. And no one knew that I was interested in buying this, but I was teaching there. But I would play with people and just go out and ask them questions, what are the pros, what are the cons? And so what I did the very first day that I took over, I took the 10 biggest cons that people complain about and changed all of that.
I love it.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. And so interesting enough, the golf course, we couldn't get the golf course to where we wanted it and what we said because of, the demand and the equipment, but they had a ball washer right there. They had new tee boxes. They had yardage markers. So it was the top 10.
And it's the little things.
And it's like they forgot about this part. And they came and said, you know what? Thank you. We see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest priority is what can we do for for your eye right when you step into Windy Hill. What are they going to see that's different? And that's one thing I commend my team for is that I get it all the time. Every time I come up here, there's something new, something different, and that's every day. I'm like, let's go. This place is never going to be exactly where I want it because I'm always going to want more.
Yeah. Well, you always kind of see you hear, you listen to what the players are saying, the customers, and it's all about that exceeding customer expectations.
Right. You have to give to get. You have to give to get.
Yeah.
And I'm all about, I grew up in this industry, and even as a woman, I saw, what women went through by playing or going into a pro shop. And so those are the little things that I took and made sure I was going to change every little thing about that. And we were going to be different in that way.
And so what were some of those things? Just curious.
A good one is, I can use me because, I play with a group of men every Friday and every Sunday. And I play in a lot of tournaments, a lot of scrambles, and I just won one on Friday. And
congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And we went into the pro shop.
So you're a ringer.
Yeah.
You're
sometimes.
a ringer.
I have fun. So we went in the pro shop, and I was looking around, and I said, "So where's your women's section?" And he's like, "Oh, back there." And it literally was like in this corner, like just tiny. And I'm looking around, and I was like, "Now I get it." Because when I have my women come, I always ask them, what are the things that well, why are you intimidated?
Yeah.
Well, it's not friendly, meaning it's not. We don't feel welcome, we don't feel important. And so that's how I felt. Like everyone's over here and I'm like, okay, there's golf balls, which, I get golf balls. And so there was really nothing intriguing for me to buy there. And so that was really disappointing because, I won. I won closest to the pin, I won longest drive, and we won this. And I'm like, and I walked out with nothing. I didn't buy anything, and I'm just going to give my certificate to somebody that can play it. Yeah. But it's those types of things, and it's also
and that's a missed opportunity for that course.
And if they knew what women do, because you know what women do? Women go in there and they buy the skirt. Yeah. And then they buy the short sleeve shirt. Oh wait, I need a long sleeve shirt. Wait, I need the coat, and now I need this. That's what they do. And even if they buy for men, they're good. I'm going to buy you a shirt. You know what? Gosh, that belt looks good. Oh, wait, now I'm going to buy the socks.
Because we're we are clothes shoppers.
Yes.
I know.
So, yeah.
So it was funny because a year ago, I helped my girlfriend. I volunteered for her golf tournament, which is Two in the Stigma, Jill Chickowitz, and it was over at Magnolia Green. It was the first time they were there, and they had just to let you know, full disclosure, I don't play golf. But I like the clothes. I know. But they had us on sale, and they all had the cute little white skirts on. So I'm like, gotta have a white skirt.
Yeah.
So I bought one, and I was gonna wear it a couple weeks ago at the tournament. But daggone it, it was 60-some degrees. I'm like, yeah, no, it's too cold. I need my black leggings.
See, and then that's when you put the leggings underneath it. And,
See, I don't know the golf attire.
There you go. But it's and I'm trying to change that at our course, because you get they're intimidated because. And it happens to me too when you're on a driving range, and I hear it at Windy, but I hear it when I go play. And they'll say, a starter will come up and say, hey, you know what, you guys are next, and then the men will go up there and say, hey, wait a minute, can we please get in front of these women? Like, it's like, and so I think that's the judgment, that it's getting better. It's getting better, but it's still out there. It's still, I think it's always perceived as a boys' club.
Yes,
that golf is. And
some courses have started off as boys clubs, and I know you know the one I'm thinking of. And then transitioning to allowing women to play,
right,
they still don't have them front of mind,
right. And I think that's the point. It's not that yes, things are changing, but again, like you said, it's still not welcoming. And I think that's why they always say with LPGA and PGA was like, hey, we need to grow the game, and I disagree with that. I think that the game is growing. COVID grew the game. Yeah. I think we need to figure out a way to keep them there. That's what we need to do. That was a movement. Grow the game was a movement. But okay, it's retention. There. How do you keep them? Yeah. You keep them by making it friendly. You keep them by making them feel welcome and doing fun things like like we do at Windy Hill for everyone. It's not just them, but I do a grip and sip. So it's an hour of instruction and an hour of drinking. And in that hour of drinking, it's them asking me questions, what's the etiquette, what should we wear, just knowledge. And so now they're getting comfortable by going on the course. And I think if we do more things like that for women and, telling them, instructing them that way, not just giving them a lesson, now go on the golf course. Right. Because when you're on the golf course, it's very intimidating anyway. Right. They're intimidated just when they go with me, because they want to make a full out of themselves, but it is intimidating. But when you're with a group of men, then you're like, I don't want to mess up. And that's what they tell me. It's that the men are intimidating them. They don't want to mess up. Right. They don't want to look like the beginner. Right. And that's what I really try to do is get them so ready, just like I do with, your son. I'm trying to get him ready for the high school team, maybe for college. And that's instead of just giving him a lesson. Right. Yeah.
Well, we will continue working on that.
Yes. Yes, we will.
And I think stepping outside of the traditional way of doing things, I think is really going to lead even more so to your success at Windy Hill, because I think there is an opportunity for women to be comfortable, in that male-dominated environment. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about sports psychology and because the mind is very powerful.
Yes.
As you all probably know, I'm a psychologist, and you can think in your mind, I'm not going to do really well, and then lo and behold, you're not. Right. Because now you have pretty much predestined yourself, because those are those negative thoughts that are going in your head. So with sports psychology, and you can use the same thing with your team, your staff. Right. So how do you get them on board to think of being confident in the unknowns?
So with my students, it kind of goes together, but especially with the students, if I always say, your brain doesn't understand, don't. Don't go in the water. So your brain's saying, go in the water. Right. So we have to get rid of those negative things. Going to my team and my staff, it's the same thing. We're not this. We're not, Augusta. People don't. There is no don't. People see, and so we always have to be one step ahead of it and be confident in your job. And going back to the golf, that's the one thing the best thing I ever did was taking those, getting the sports psychology and because it helped me as a player, but it really helped me as a coach and an instructor and actually a business woman. Just going in there and being, okay, you know what? I'm not going to think that they're all thinking, oh, here comes this woman. I'm not thinking that. I'm going to think, here comes this professional.
Who's now bought the business and wants to change everything.
Right. Right.
And so then it's the fear of the unknown, and people are scared because they don't know what that means to them personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you one of the best stories I had coming into this. When I first bought it, I had, there was somebody that was involved with Windy Hill, and we were talking about trying to do some business together. I wanted to go a different direction because I really wanted my own team. I wanted my own team. I wanted to put my team together, and I was going to make that golf course much better. And the last thing he said to me was, "Good luck as a woman doing that." And so
I'm like, "Oh, that's a challenge." That's a challenge.
It wasn't. I didn't. You know, I tell the story all the time. Like, "Oh my God, what?" I said, "You know what?" I said, "Thanks. Have a great day." And I was like, "Okay, game on. I want to make this so much better." And so that psychology part of me was, okay, you know what? That wasn't a slap in my face. That was the next chapter on how am I going to do this better?
Yeah.
How am I going to prove to people that, you know what? I do know what I'm talking about. I did do my homework. I have studied. I have done this, and I do care about the people. It's not just about us. You know, how much money can we make? It's what can we do for our clients to make it better for them. So
they enjoy the game.
Yes, exactly. And that's my biggest thing is you have to be able not to make it intimidating for somebody. You know, I tell all my beginners. I give them the scorecard and I scratch it out, and I'm like, that's not your par. Nobody here is a scratch golfer. This is your par. Beginners are like 3 or 4 over par. And so if you get, you know, if it's a par 5 and you probably should have a 9 and you get an 8, take a birdie shot.
Yeah. Small wins.
Yes,
Small wins.
But mentally, they're like, oh my gosh, you know what? Because when they look at a par 4 and they just got an 8, they're like this. But when, as a beginner, you're not supposed to be there, and they look at that, they're like, this on the next hole, they're doing better. They're doing better. But you can't. With golf, it's so mental. There's so many people that don't make it on tour because of that, just because of that reason. And you always have to think about the process before the outcome. 90% of golfers, amateur golfers, think about the outcome. I have to put it over the sand trap. I have to get it over the water. Don't put it in the water because I'm going to look like a fool. You don't think that way. You're like, okay, I have this 7-iron. I'm going to hit it over there, and that's what I'm going to do.
See, and that is so insightful. Because if you get the end game out of your mind and just focus on, you know, the step 1.
Yeah.
The pressure.
It's the process. You have no idea.
It's gone.
It's the process. And I had to do that with my daughter. She was terrified of water, and she played in college. Terrified in water. So I finally said, how far is it from here to get over the water? You know, it's 40 yards. Okay, you can throw the ball 40 yards. So what are you scared of? Well, it's a 180 shot. No, it's not. It's 45 yards to get over the water. And then she's like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
I can get over that way. Yes. You can't think that it's because you're looking ahead. You know, you have to just make it super, super simple. And when people, and that's how I teach. I teach very simple, and it's not a technical, and I don't go over everything. Because that's the one thing I don't do is teach one-dimensional. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different swing. Everyone can, you know, but, and again, make it fun, and if it's not working, then you tell me, you know what, that doesn't feel good. Okay, I can manipulate something else for you. So it's the fear. It's always when you're on the golf course, it's the fear of what's going to happen. Well, you have to tell yourself there is no fear. I'm going to strike this ball. If it doesn't go well, I'm going to strike it again.
So here is an acronym for fear. False expectations appearing real.
Yes.
And I think it's so true because we get it in our head how things are going to turn out, and they're never
right
as bad as how we think they're going to be.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And that's what another thing when I take them on, I have a mental clinic is what I call it, 6-week mental clinic.
Ooh, I love it.
So you really don't even really hit a golf ball. It's you know, how are you preparing yourself for this tournament? You know, and do you know the person you're playing with, and you don't like to play with the person you're playing with because you know what you're doing is like, oh, I don't want to play with that person. Well, now they're in your head. That's your responsibility to make you want to play or try to figure out how you're going to play with that person. So when people start jingling something, or you know, there's so many people say, oh, God, they're just so annoying, that they're loud. Well, that's not their problem, that's your problem. You have to figure out how you're going to play with those people.
Right.
And I teach them all that, you know, how to prepare for a tournament. You know, if it's windy, how you guys are always putting the ball in a really nice little spot. Put it somewhere where it's not good. You know, if you don't like to play around people, go to the range when it's packed. Yeah. You know, you have to start doing things like that. So I do that mental clinic, and on on the course, that's that's the first thing I say. What are you thinking? Oh, I know I'm hitting it right. I'm going to go out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You can, and I always say you can par from, or your par, you can par from anywhere. Just because you have one bad shot doesn't mean that you can't make that up. And so that's the one thing I teach is, all these people have 20 great shots and they have one bad shot and they're done. Just done. You got to focus on the good, not the bad.
Right. So how do you translate that to running a business?
Same thing. Because in the summer, it is ridiculous. You have to remember, we're Disney World, really.
Yeah.
And you don't just have golfers waiting for carts. You've got people wanting golf balls, and now we have to pick, and now it's packed, and so it's pick, and all these, and there's days that where we'll get complaints because it was too slow or this or that, and so we all we have this big text message and say, okay, what are we gonna do better? And it's part of the process. Okay, let's not freak out about all these people coming today. And that's one thing we weren't good at in the beginning. Like our very first, oh my gosh, we have 100 people coming, and everyone's like, no,
yeah,
we are going to do our process. We're going to do what we're best at. We're going to learn. Sorry, we're going to learn. Yeah, we're going to learn from it. So that's how that is.
So in the last few 30 seconds, let's say, what would you think is important to share as a woman business owner and the challenges that come with just running a business, and you're in a male-dominated business? I'm thinking, even if it's things like technology, which is mostly male-dominant, engineering. Yeah. How do you, what tips actually, or what tip would you say would be most beneficial?
Honestly, I kind of use my sports psychology part of it in me, and I don't think of me as a woman in this industry. I think of me as a professional golfer. I think of me as a mother that I can, and that's one thing. Emotionally, I'm involved with everyone. I think of me as just a business person, trying to do the best for their clients and best for their employees as I possibly can. And I think that's how you have to go into it and look at it, whether you're a woman or not. It's every day is a struggle with certain things as that. But I don't go in there going, oh, I'm not going to get this because I'm a woman. I just go in there and I'm going to try to get it. So.
And I love that, because I view myself the same way. I think get the gender out of it, and just do the job that you want.
Right.
And for Wendy Hill, it's how can I create the best family atmosphere for ranging from, like you said, batting cages to golf to putt-putt to not race car driving, but go-karts. All these things create that family environment, which I think these days is so important for families to be together.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're right. And that's how I wanted to, when I took it over. This wasn't going to be, okay, I'm a woman and this is what it's going to be, or these are going to be my obstacles. I knew that was there. I've been doing this for 30 years, so it's there. But I wasn't going to play off of it. I was just going to do the best job that I could and get people to buy into that. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
People respect you more if you're just there to make it better and to do the job.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how do people get in touch with you?
Wendy Hill. We have a website. It's wendysports.com. And we have Facebook. We do a lot of marketing on Facebook, Instagram. And if you want any lessons, all that information's on our website. And you can call the pro shop, and we're there all the time.
So Wendy is amazing. Do check her out. Check out Wendy Hill Golf Course and Sports Complex. And she does a great job with my son, so she will do a great job with you or your kids. So that is going to do it for us today. Thank you for listening to Talking Leadership with Dr. Heather, the Leadership Doc, and we will see you next week on ESPN 106.1. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.